what we're seeking to do is provide a gemology background so that students can transition into the jewelry industry. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell, without really necessarily going into any detail about it. We're trying to feed the jewelry industry, and we're trying to give people that are interested in gemology basically to, we want to be able to prepare them. And so that's kind of why we're here, because there are things that happen in the industry that, as teachers, we try to stay up with, what's going on in the industry. But, we're looking for this input so that we can direct our students, or maybe even suggest curriculum. And I remember last year, one of the things that came out of it, which was, surprising and not surprising, is we had, I'm trying to think, someone from Jewelry Exchange, and he said, really is sales. Once you have that gemology background, what do you do with it? And so he felt, because they actually recruit out of Santiago Canyon College, that, sales was an important function. Well, of course, we don't have that as a class. Now, if you're I have to equate that to when I was in college. I majored in business, and I took all these really fancy marketing classes and marketing management classes, and, subscribed to, Wall Street Journal, even though I was penniless. And the class that got me by in life for years and years and years and got me, hired, was actually the sales class, because they don't hire you to run the company when you get right out of college. So I thought that was really valid input. So that's kind of what we're hoping to accomplish, is to kind of integrate, to help to better prepare our students to, to make them more employable to you. So I guess that would be my synopsis of it.
Yeah, we're a little bit different. I mean, it's just my wife and I, and then so just we have a small office rather than a full-blown
I think you joined us last year, didn't you?
I did. Brian
I thought so.
Come this year.
And so, what's value, if I can I just kind of go with that? Because because I have a small business too, right? So it's basically me, and my husband helps and does his own thing. So it's kind of the same thing. So you have to kind of be a jack of all trades, really. You have to be the bookkeeper, you have to be the purchase order person. And so, that's actually kind of valid input, because I think a lot of the jewelry industry are smaller concerns. So maybe I would think that that I'm kind of getting ahead on the agenda here, but I think that's important too, because that's one of the things I've had to conquer. I have to know Quicken and Microsoft Money, and how to do a lot of other things besides gemology. Now, just let me kind of stick with my curriculum status. One of the things that we are considering, because our program has always been a little bit challenged for enrollment. Like she had mentioned, that all of the career coaches go out in the high schools and recruit into college and recruit into our career education. Well, it's people understand being a doctor, a lawyer, a water surveyor. Those are really tangible things, but it's usually people, younger people, they're looking for something a little bit more solid and tangible. So we don't get a lot of enrollment out of the high schools. So we've struggled with enrollment as long as I've been here, which is like, a long time. Anyway, so one of the things that I'm doing in terms of curriculum is I am working on a plan. Right now, we the way the classes are numbered, if you're 100 level or above, you can transfer to a 4-year college. But if it's a 020, 023 or something like that, like all of our gemology classes, they don't transfer to a 4-year college. So I've actually, working last semester, was able to find 2 classes that we could actually would qualify to be college transferable. So we'll actually be able to, I'm hoping, able to attract more people, and we, into that beginning, because if beginning colored stones will qualify for your geology class, then we might get more people interested in it that don't necessarily have the understanding of what you can do in this industry. So that's the main thing that I'm working on. And that what I have done in the past before COVID is I was going out to Gem Fair in Costa Mesa and just kind of, because people, we've been here for, you know, I don't know how long the gemology program has been here, over 30 years. And I was at the Costa Mesa Gem Fair and people coming up and going, we didn't even know this program existed. So those are my two challenges, is exposure and kind of, you know, providing a little bit more flexibility into the college level. So that's kind of the two things that I'm working on. So next, from last year, it says program improvement recommendations from Perkins 4, which would be Brian will introduce this section. So I'm going to toss it back over to you.
Well, so you know, I guess what we would, you know, what we would want to do at this point is to Deanna, probably understand a little bit better from Anthony and Clay what they think is going on in the industry that might have changed over the last year, or, you know, certainly since the last advisory meeting. And then from there, you can use that as to launch, you know, some ideas about what you should be teaching, or if there are any additional changes, right, that you need for the program. So,
yeah, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, what are the changes? And, you know, Anthony, I'd love to hear from you. You know, what's the status? You know, what changes have you had to make? And, you know, certainly from Clay as well.
So I'm not sure what you're asking for in changes. You know, it's a very slow moving industry. The major changes that do happen usually come from outside of the jewelry industry itself, such as online sales of engagement rings and jewelry and stuff like that. There's a lot of Etsy sales. There's the large engagement ring operators as well, such as Blue Nile is actually reversing course a little bit, and they're opening brick and mortar stores. Because they're noticing that they're losing a lot of sales from being able to close online to clients on the coast that have access to a lot of different jewelry stores. So there is a personal aspect of the jewelry industry that can't be replaced online. Being able to physically see exactly what you're getting. You know, I can send the ugliest diamond to your house, and once it gets to your house, it's going to look beautiful because it's a diamond. But once you compare it to something else, then you're like, oh, there are improvements that are out there. There's better options that are out there that you may have spent a little bit more on if you knew it was available. So that personal aspect is still very, very strong in this industry. There are always going to be the budget buyers that'll buy it for the cheapest they can possibly get their hands on, whether it's going to be online or in a store. But the average consumer that's spending $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on a ring or a necklace or anything else that they're buying are going to want to physically see it in person. Even the automotive industry is having difficulty transitioning to online because it's a big purchase. You know, you're just not, you're going to want to see, touch, and feel what it is that you're spending that amount of money on. And also, it is quite a bit of an emotional purchase. So bringing that emotion in is something that is taken away from online. You can write as well as you possibly can, but not having that relationship with the person in front of you, being able to speak and communicate. You know, when it comes to gemology specifically, gemology is just a tool that is used to be able to educate our clients so that when they have questions, I'll be able to answer them. It's not necessarily, I don't go out in the field and I'm searching for gems and trying to identify them. You know, so it's just a tool that I use my education to be able to answer questions that a client may have.
Can I ask you quickly, what
Mhm.
what section of the industry are you in? Are you a retailer?
I own Forever Faithful Diamonds and Jewelry.
Right.
We're a jewelry manufacturer and we have multiple offices.
Okay, I'm writing all this down. But you basically manufacture and you have multiple, are they brick and mortar? Are they multiple factory locations or retail outlets?
We have one factory location in Los Angeles, and then we have 2 sales offices, one in Newport Beach and the other one is in
Right,
Daytona
okay.
Beach.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify that for my notes. No, it's really valuable.
So yeah, I mean, if a student is coming in, you know, to a graduate gemology program or some sort of gemology program, and they're wondering what career that they can get out of it. When I was in school, there were 2 careers. One was somebody that actually worked at a mine, and then the other 99% of students, you know, so somebody was already a geologist working at a mine that they needed somebody that was a little bit more specified. So they sent him to the GIA, and then the rest were children of jewelry store owners that their kids were just about to get started in the industry. That was it. There weren't, you know, where else do you go with your gemology degree?
Right. Well, I mean, there's bench jewelers, there's, you know, there's a lot of different aspects, retail, wholesale of the industry as well. But I kind of see the gemology as your foundation. It's just like you wouldn't go, I was going to say sell cars, but that's not true. But it's your foundation for being able to either represent or understand, you know, your products and services in the industry. I think it's interesting about Blue Nile, because I've always felt that when, you know, when all of these online places popped up, I thought, who would buy a diamond without ever looking at it? But people know, oh, there's the 4 C's. And so, oh, this says SI, which means slightly included. So that's got to be a good diamond, you know, and you don't know until you actually get it in your hands and compare it to somebody else. So that's really, you know, for us, that's really good input because you come from a slightly different perspective.
As Anthony mentioned, also it can arrive in the mail, and even the grading can be exactly the same as another diamond, but they don't look the same in person.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm working on a lawsuit right now where that's exactly the case. And but anyway, I could show you pictures and you would cry. Anyway, I didn't know they made jewelry this ugly. But anyway, so anything else, Anthony, as far as what your what you think would help us, you know, provide better students to you?
You know, the reality is the industry has a you know, if you want to open your own business or you want to break into the industry, you know, on your own, the barrier to entry is very high. It's very, very high. You know, it's not, you know, creating connections, creating credit, creating, you know, that availability. Now, to work at a jewelry store, that barrier to entry is actually very, very, very low. You know, there's, you know, K's is constantly hiring, you know, Ben Bridges and stuff like that, are constantly hiring. For somebody that I could use, I mean, I need the experience. You know, I'm not hiring people right out of school because that I let them go through the K's, you know, and all of that first.
Exactly.
You know,
and I think a lot of people start that way, you know. But you want that, just like you're talking about personal connections and understanding, you know, the networking in the industry and how to get along with people and.
Right. And then so for me, if somebody's going to come and try and get a job through me, they're going to need some sales experience, some sales classes. If they haven't had a job before, they're going to have to tell me what books they've read in sales. They're going to have to tell me, you know, why they're interested, you know, and why they think they can improve my business in one way, shape, or form. You know, my commissions are extremely aggressive, but you know, I'm bringing a lot of that value to the table.
Thank you. Clay, you want to?
I mean, we're a little bit different. We've been in
Right.
business 30 years, but you know, I don't know. Do you go to LA every week, Anthony?
2-3 times a week. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically
After this, I'm going.
for 30 years. 30 years, I spend at least a day every week in LA, and that's where I have all my gem people and my diamond dealer and my jeweler. And so, yeah, we don't have employees, so we're a little different, but I think it would definitely be beneficial if somebody went through your classes and then, like Anthony was saying, go to work in a jewelry store, get
Right.
experience, and then from there, if you're going to pursue having a business of your own, that would you would definitely want to work in a jewelry store for a while.
And I'm sorry, do you have a I don't remember from last year, I apologize, but do you have a brick and mortar store? I thought you were.
We have an office. We don't have but for years we didn't. I actually, when I first started, I got introduced to it by somebody that we just went out to our customers, went to a lot of mortgage companies and doctors' offices, and then things changed. And of course, with COVID, you're not going out to places. So.
But do you wholesale? I'm guessing is what I'm asking.
No, you do retail.
Retail. And the other thing that I had mentioned earlier is, and Anthony, exactly what you're saying, you know, that was when I have a bachelor's degree in business, which doesn't, I guess, it doesn't mean as much as it used to, but that was the selling point for me, was that, oh, you took a sales class, so you know the ABCs, you know, this or that. That's what got me in the door in my career, you know, and I think that's really valid today. Mm-hmm. But you know, the other thing that you pointed out, because it's just, I guess, you and your wife, you got to have all this other set of skills too, in terms of management, right? I mean, because you're doing it all yourself. Well, I mean, I'm sure you know, I don't know if you have I'm sure you have an accountant, but but that whole product mix and how you market, etc. You know, that doesn't come from gemology, you know, so yeah.
The guy I like is a guy named Grant Cardone, and he has tons of YouTube videos that the kids can watch that just free advice, but he has a lot of books.
What's his name?
Grant Cardone.
Oh,
that's a scary dude. I'd go with Patrick Bet-David myself.
You know what? Grant is awesome. I don't know why you say that, but
are we talking about motivational business speakers like
yeah, he does a lot of, actually started in sales, car sales, but yeah, I mean, that's great. You have your favorite too.
well, I mean, all that stuff. I mean, I've watched, I mean, the names have changed a lot since I was in school, but we had Conant Nightingale. I'm trying to think, Brian Tracy. You guys have probably never heard of those guys.
Yeah, no, I've heard of them.
Yeah, you know, is that what you're talking about, is those type of, you know, how to, oh gosh, not so much anymore, but Anthony Robbins, I think his name was. And I've got a great book on selling, you know, but that's what I focused on, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot they can tune into.
Yeah, and sells. And so, with oops, sorry, I've got a news feed there. Okay, let me just read my agenda. So, I'm going to let that go to voicemail. I don't know how to mute it, so my apologies. Let me see here. Okay.
How is business during the pandemic for both of you?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, actually, we have a little office, so they never shut us down. But
Yeah.
first part of last year, I think when we had the last webinar, LA was shut. And so that like screwed up the whole business.
Oh, because you couldn't buy.
You couldn't get into the buildings. And if you did meet somebody, they had to come down to the sidewalk. But since then, they've been open. So, but I mean, people aren't having big weddings, but they're still getting married. And I've had quite a few people that just went to the courthouse and planned to do their reception later. But I think that's changing now. People are having weddings. So
Yeah, and I would, the problem we faced is that we're not an essential industry. Unless, you're employed in it, then it's very essential.
yeah, we're essential as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Yeah, really.
If you don't keep your wife or girlfriend happy, you're gonna not have a place to live. So
Exactly. But last year when we did this, I know it was one of the, I can't remember his name, but anyway, it was one of the Doddridges was saying that their sales initially went up. I'd kind of be interested to see if that's still the case, in terms right after, because we did this right last year, right when things were just kind of very tenuous in terms of the virus.
mm-hmm.
So do you guys have an online presence? Clay,
We
Anthony?
don't, but
It's it's a information website. It's nothing that you can buy on.
Okay. So
And Anthony, how's the pandemic affected what you do?
Budgets have increased.
Okay.
A lot of people not traveling, a lot of people not going out to dinner, not partying. So
they have more expendable income.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So you actually, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we probably had a better year this year than previous. But I'll tell you something funny. There was, when they were handing out the money for the unemployment, right? We had some people coming in using their EDD cards to buy $3,000 rings and things like that.
I know.
But
Or
then there was so
fireworks.
much fraud. You'd see so many people downtown just buying gold. You knew something was happening, but then later they wouldn't let them use the EDD cards at any jewelry. I mean, even small purchases, they just decline it because, and one of my customers said, well, it's because he had to call them and it was because of the fraud in the jewelry.
Yeah, I noticed that too out in my area where people weren't spending it on groceries or their rent or their utilities. 4th of July went on for about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's see. Okay, do you guys have any questions about the associate or certificate degree itself?
No, I mean, I don't hire people. I guess Anthony does, but I think it'd be a benefit if they showed up with that, but also, like he was saying, they'd have to have some experience.
Okay, no, but I guess my question is, do you have any questions about our certificate program?
So you're teaching them about gemstones, and
right? We do
qualities and.
Yeah, why don't you give a little overview?
Sure. We have colored gemstones is 2 semesters, and it is identification strongly. I'm trying to have them emphasize more of the quality, because a sapphire is, obviously because there's just different qualities. So it's a full year of colored gemstones. So we cover stuff on the A list and sometimes on the B list, and we try to encourage them to use many tools, during the semester. And then we have 1 semester of diamonds. And our diamonds instructor is a GIA graduate. We've tried to always have, at least for diamonds, a GIA graduate for our instructor. And then my class, I teach 2 classes. I teach pearls and then antique and period jewelry. So both of my classes are 8 weeks each, 2 nights a week. And so, these days, to me, I know GIA offers a pearls class, but they don't have a grading segment. Mine has half of the time allocated to grading. So, you know, for me, pearls is kind of a really underrepresented in the industry. For, you know, so so that's the one class I teach, and then I teach antique and period jewelry. I actually wrote a book, Estate Jewelry 1760 to 1960, so I use that as a textbook. And you know, that's probably not exactly
I have that book.
Oh, okay, that's me. So anyway,
Small world.
you know, thank you. I made $1.50 anyway. So that's my royalty on it. Anyway, so that's my passion, is antiques, and especially antique jewelry. And so, you know, I'd like to see it a little bit more expanded in the industry, but there's a lot of junk out there, and there's a lot, you know, when I go to the shows, you know, there's not a lot of antique jewelry sales out there. But anyway, so yes, you know, we all know the older jewelry doesn't have, you know, the nicer gemstones. It's more the provenance of the piece, you know, in most cases. So, you know, you're always dealing with an old European, or, you know, or a mine cut, and you know, they didn't know, you know, as long as it was shiny, they kind of didn't care. And then, of course, I, you know, head up the program for the last, I think, 3 years now. So, and then when we, you know, when the program was stronger, we offered a retail class, and then appraisal theory. So I've taught, because I'm a personal property appraiser. That's what I do, because I only teach part-time. So, appraisal theory, you know, is, you know, all about how you get to value. But, you know, so those two aspects that are, I think, very important in terms of the industry. You know, we've just, because enrollment, especially with COVID, but our enrollment's been down, and we haven't been able to promote it because we can't have lab. But I definitely think, you know, gives me a new respect for those two classes, but they're electives. So that's essentially, you know, what I do.
So Deanna, for most of the students who enroll, what's their trajectory? What are they looking to do? Do you know?
Well, you know, a lot of them, believe it or not, we get a lot of jewelers that, you know, they're bench jewelers, they have a small business, and, you know, for whatever reason, and then they can look at gemstones, you know, I mean, once you look at enough diamonds, you have an idea of what's good and what's not good. But they feel it's the point in their life, or whatever happened, that they need to get more of a formal background and really understand. Maybe they, you know, maybe they got burned, or whatever, or maybe they're trying to expand or something like that. So so that's one group. It's actually, you know, I would say probably 20 to 25% of our enrollees end up being already in the industry. And so, and they're kind of a dream, because you don't have to work with them as much. And then you have, we have a percentage of, you know, our classes, they're mostly older students. They're usually people in their, you know, 30s plus, okay? A lot of them are kind of Etsy people. They've made wire wrap stuff, and you know, they want to know a little bit. They want to distinguish themselves. They want to know a little bit more about gems, so that they can, you know, provide a more competitive product in that environment. So we get a lot of people like that. We get a lot of the smaller people that just kind of make jewelry in their spare time. We get wives that want to, or husbands that want to learn to buy better jewelry for their spouses. And then we get a percentage of people that think it's interesting and are not quite sure where they're going to go with it. So I would say that's the 4 groups
Okay.
that come
Well,
to
one thing
mind.
I wonder about a lot, I don't know about Anthony, but I don't see a lot of new people learning to set diamonds or do repairs, or so I'm wondering 10, 20 years from now, who's going to be doing that?
Yeah, it's, you know, we've talked about actually, you know, having a program. There is a school, I'm trying to think, I think it's out in Bellflower somewhere, that area, that teaches actual jewelry making. But that is, you know, and it's a respectable profession, and you know, pays fairly well. You know, I'll look into.
To get the experience as far as to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a fair number of students that actually come through, and then they actually want to go learn how to, you know, make jewelry, and, you know, they bring in their first bezel set piece of jewelry and, you know, usually takes a little work to get that perfected. But that's a good point, is, you know, we've thought in the past of kind of, again, it's combining those two professions, but we were always faced with this enrollment problem. And like I said, I was on track until COVID. So that's kind of set us back a little bit, but that's definitely something that we've thought about for the future, is bringing that in. It requires a whole other set of equipment, obviously. But in the right circumstances, it can be done. Yeah. So let's see what's next on my list.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as well. Are there other areas, now that the two of you know a little bit more about what she does, you know, similar to jewelry making, that might be important considerations for Santiago to think about for the future? I mean, you know, and it's interesting you said that, Clay, because I was going to ask, you know, what does the future hold, right? If students aren't, you know, right now, if retail, you know, the K's of the world are an entry for a lot of people before moving up in the industry, and that's kind of shut down because retail's been shut down. You know, what does that mean for the future?
Well, I would highly suggest a bench jeweler program, because you can walk out of school,
yeah,
and have a career.
Okay.
You know, and that barrier to entry is very, very low. Yes, it takes time, it takes effort, you know, but, you know, I don't think there's a 2-year bench jeweler program. I think GIA has a 6 or 9 month program, but a 2-year bench jewelry program could be extremely valuable.
Yep. It makes a lot of sense.
So, because out of school as a graduate gemologist, if you're applying for a job, maybe 10, 12 bucks an hour, I don't know, maybe $15 an hour, with room to increase if you're at Tiffany's or Van Cleef and Arpels or Cartier or something like that. You know, that as a career. And then if you wanted to move on the corporate side, you would need a BS degree and probably an MBA program. You know, if that's the career path that you're going through. But to get a job out of school that pays reasonably, a bench jeweler can make some money.
Yeah. Or even jewelry design.
A jewelry design, a CADing program, something like that. But there's a million people doing CADing. You know, I get a million emails every single day. Please let me do your CAD design. Please let me do your CAD design. You know, and that the cost of doing a CAD design has been going down and down and down for the past 2-3 years. Where bench jewelry, those guys, you know, if you're good, you can start charging whatever you want.
Good point.
And there's hardly any, I don't know, new people getting into that. So that would be because most of the people I use, they maybe from Armenia or Cambodia, they learn years ago.
My diamond setter's got one son that's going to be a diamond setter, and the other son is not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And the first son wasn't necessarily interested in the first place, but kind of got forced into it because school wasn't, you know, he wasn't good at school. So,
is that how most of them learn? Is you know, an apprenticeship with a family?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's to train somebody that's not family you're putting a lot of energy and effort into somebody that can take that skill and without the family loyalty just walk away.
Yep.
You know, and either open their own office or
Sure.
work for somebody else for $1 more an hour or whatever. So that's why, you know, this industry you see is full of family, because loyalty is the issue.
Mhm.
So I've paid for my loyalty. That's what, you know, I just pay too much. That's what I'm doing. So
make it
you know,
difficult for them to leave.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know, go look for a job somewhere else, you know, you're not going to find somebody that pays more than I do, but you're going, you know, the level of demand that's on you is pretty high. So it's not an easy job, but you know, if you can do well.
Mhm.
Let me see, where are they? Okay, I'm just reading through my notes. Where are they now in terms of reopening? Oh, we're looking at, well, you guys don't really have retail, but I tell you what, this year, I mean, I know I had planned to go to AGTA and they canceled because of COVID. They tried really hard to get it open, but they're just, everybody was going through, you know, the main floor with masks on in one direction, and it just didn't work out. I'm just wondering, let me see, how are they conducting business? So, and they just canceled for April as well. Where do they find where do you guys find most of your employees besides, I mean, you were saying you just pay them well. Clay, do you ever hire people, do you ever hire people temporarily or contract or anything like that?
Well, I mean, you could say contract. I mean, basically subcontract, pay them for what they do. And, you know, I have people, that's one advantage of, you know, I can handle as much business as I can get because I do the sitting down with the customer, but then I have people that do all the CAD work and the, you know, the diamond setting and so I have several people that I use that do perfect work so I don't have to actually have an employee, which I mean, I'm getting older, so what I do, it's not ditch digging. I can do it as long as I want, and I don't have to mess with the employees. I guess if I was younger, then I might look at, you know, having a larger operation.
But you're saying you essentially they're doing more of the use subcontract for the setting and the design and all that kind of stuff, and the rest is,
yes.
Pardon me?
Yeah, repairs.
Okay.
You know,
and where do you find your employees? I know
referrals, downtown Los Angeles. That's where most of them are.
Oh, so you'll kind of those weekly trips you make, you bring what you need and let them do it, and and then you pick it up the next time you come in, right?
Yeah, I got a guy that he doesn't mind staying late and finishing everything, and then I'll have it to deliver the thing.
And Anthony, where do you find your employees that you pay very well? Do you want my resume? No, Jesus.
Usually they're sales go-getters. You know, when it comes to the manufacturing side, I basically kind of just bought an office in downtown LA, and that already had all the tools and everything, and it came with one guy, and then now we're up to 3. So
where do you find them? Where do you find your employees?
They refer each other.
Okay, so I mean, that's important because so again, it gets back to that networking. So
right. So on the sales side, on the sales side, it's a generally disgruntled salesperson that thinks that they should make more. That's where I found my sales side.
Disgruntled from another employer.
Yeah. So they see that they're doing so many you know, I mean, I saw it when I was in sales, you know, obviously
me
that's
too.
why I work for myself now, where, you know, you sell something for $20,000-$30,000 and you're like, well, you know, I want a little taste of that. You know, I did all the work, you know, now the
Right.
owner gets to keep all that money, you know, and it gets a little, you know, if you're a go-getter, it can be a little frustrating. So, you know, that's the opportunity that I put together. And that's it.
I personally, my experience in sales, I'm just going to share it, is that I would go out and close a big deal and I would get, you know, whatever percentage commission. And then my manager would figure out that now I was making more money than him. And then they would go and say, you know, we're going to change that. You think, you know, so we're going to cut that commission in half. And because they don't, you know, so that was my experience as well. So I'm your disgruntled sales employee that just says, the heck with it, I'm going to go start my own business, you know. So I definitely agree with that. So this is all really valuable. So, you know, this kind of what we just asked kind of leads into the next question, which is, you know, pathways for new hires. You know, so we've got, you know, basically we're looking at a networking, essentially. You know, it's people know people know people, and I kind of sense that. You know, just from my personal experience. And even a disgruntled salesperson will know, you know who they want to go talk to, you know, and if you've got the background in sales, you know, you're going to go, you know, send out 50 resumes or go make, you know, 2, 3, 4 dozen emails or whatever it takes, you know, and then, and I'm guessing, Anthony, that you know something of them, or you wouldn't be considering hiring them, right?
Yeah, they're not somebody that I would have met once.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that helps a lot. Now it says
and I'm just, you know, I'm just looking at Indeed right now, just, you know, kind of seeing what jobs are out there. And to Anthony's point earlier about bench jewelers, I mean, those jobs start at $25 an hour on here, whereas most everything else is 12 to 18. So
correct. Yeah, I have a GIA survey somewhere, and I created a little video that we run at the gem show, at the Costa Mesa gem show, that has the career, you know, the career employment and, you know, salary ranges and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, bench jewelers, you know, they don't make enough as much ultimately as you can. For example, I mean, sales is always, if you're in the right position and you are aggressive, you'll do well in sales, but you know, it's kind of hard to maintain as well.
Well, just to give you okay, so like one of my diamond setters makes a little bit over $100 an hour.
Okay.
So $25 an hour is like that's really entry. They're going to do a lot of training. That's
right, exactly.
Or somebody that's really slow.
yeah,
because it is paid. Okay, so like for diamond setting, I pay per stone. So
sure.
you know, because if I paid the guys salaries, then why would they work very hard, right? So you
right,
know,
exactly.
So I pay for diamond settings for under a microscope. You know, that's you know, we pay per stone, and if you're quick enough, you can make, you know, you can make $100 an hour pretty, you know, not working as fast as you possibly can 24 hours a day.
Right.
You know.
Right.
What about pave? Just question. I mean, for pave setting, what do you tend to charge for that or pay for that?
I don't really want to go into how much I pay.
Okay, no, I was just curious because the case I'm working on. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I would say in the industry you can pay between $3 and $8 per stone, depending on who's setting it, the size of the stone, the tools that they're using, the quality, you know, the quality of the piece that you're making itself. I mean, there's and then also, are you doing 10 stones? Or are you doing 200 stones? At 200 stones, you can ask for a bit of a discount. you know,
Okay.
so, you know, that's really what I've seen, you know.
That's what I have, is my number.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd confirm, but thank you though. Appreciate your sharing. Let's see here.
Yeah, if
You know,
if you want, I did help put somebody in jail. So if you want some Orange County DA's office information, you just
Was
give
that
me a
that
call on
guy?
that.
Was that guy that was switching out diamonds when people brought him
That's
in?
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
He
I
got
actually,
7.5 years enhanced.
I got,
Wow.
that's Priscilla Cloud actually was the, I work with the DA's office. She's the one that told me about that case. I was doing another case for her. No, the one I'm working on right now is online, and it's a guy, and you guys will be happy to have him gone. But just very big misrepresentation, but he's headed in the same direction. He just doesn't know it yet. But anyway, and you know, that's another issue that, you know, there's the integrity in the industry. You know, when you get people like that guy in Newport Beach, it hurts everybody, you know, and then it hurts our industry. It hurts the, you know, it hurts the quality, the trust factor in the industry, in an industry that needs that. Let me move on. I don't want to. Okay, so
One change, I don't know, we're
yeah.
seeing more people requesting moissanite and lab created diamonds. I don't know
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
finding, Anthony, but that's,
That's
I mean, the moissanite
Yeah,
is becoming more common.
I get about 10% of clients asking about lab created.
Mhm.
and they're bigger now too. When they then when
Yeah,
they
you can get
first
3-4 carat lab created.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're all certified, all the certification companies are doing them.
You know, it
Yeah,
kind of,
GIA just announced that they're going to be doing certs for lab.
Mhm.
oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we're getting here. Recruitment. Brian, it
So
says,
interestingly enough, we were talking about the wedding industry earlier. You know,
Yeah.
Clay was mentioning it. I literally just had an email come through. I'm on the Small Business Administration. They're starting a 5-week webinar called "Wedding Industry's Road to Recovery and Rebuilding."
Yeah,
yeah,
they had a lot tougher time than
Yeah,
we did, because
Yeah.
obviously they couldn't even have get-togethers. So
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. My board chairman actually had to cancel his wedding last September.
I had a student that had to cancel his
Yeah.
wedding. Did the same issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah, most of my clients are going either out of state or they're having small, small, more intimate weddings. But yeah, a lot of them are going to Texas, Arizona, Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, where you can have a group of 40, 50 people, 100 people.
Right. Long drive though. You know what, Brian, I'm looking at this and I think we've covered a lot of these topics, but I'm on 6. If you're
Okay.
looking at last year's, because we kind of discussed historically how we found students.
Yeah.
Retention. The only thing is that when someone comes into our program, I will tell you that they stay with our program. I think that one of the advantages that I've seen with older students is they know why they're there. And so they're going to make it one way or another. You know, if it's a C minus, they're still they're going to hang in there. So we have a lower dropout rate than I think traditionally. I mean, I don't know. I know that anecdotally, I don't necessarily know that from looking, you know, at any statistics, but if our students come into this program, then they stick with it. I mean, I think that's one advantage that we have. I think that's almost the, let me see, recommendations. So
It's a fun industry, you know, and I think that's what a lot of people, you know, a lot of people are getting into the industry because they have a passion for the industry.
Yes.
So, you know, there's not a lot of people that I think are going to be applying for a gemology program just because they thought it looked interesting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
we have a highly motivated group of students come through, and that I'm just sharing with you guys. Let me see here. So I think we've covered how do you guys handle any internships? Do you do any internships at all?
Sort of.
Okay.
Not really.
I know Clay probably wouldn't. Well, Clay, would you? I mean, you know.
no, I mean, it wouldn't really be necessary for me. I
Okay.
do like the Chamber of Commerce as far as active in it and on the board
Okay.
for our local one. And
I think we're close to the end here, guys.
so I'll look
Okay,
for
so-
you downtown, Anthony, when I'm there on a, usually I go Tuesday.
I feel very strongly I've met you before.
You look familiar. I go every Tuesday lately. That's been my day. It used to be Monday, but
I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
what building is your office in?
It's 607 South Olive.
Oh, okay. Oh, South Olive. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That by the
Diagonally across from Pershing Square.
diagonally across. Okay, like the Acadia Club I know is right there on Olive.
It's the Obiot building.
Oh, well, see, I've been in there. That's one of my diamond dealers is in that building, the 4th floor.
Yeah. 4th floor. That's my floor.
Is it? You know,
Guys, you
Kathy,
probably had lunch and didn't even know it.
Kathy sell diamonds and gemstones.
That's next door. That's the building next door.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I think
Small-
we pretty much.
It's a small world.
Yeah,
It's a
well, it
very
is, it
small
is, you know.
world.
Yeah.
It's, it's one of those things where you really have to teach ethics,
Yes.
I was waiting for an elevator yesterday, and the reaming some other guy got, it was pretty epic. It was
What
pretty
was it?
epic,
He was bragging about. What
no,
happened?
somebody owed somebody else, I think it was like $30,000, which, and hadn't paid him back in over 90 days. Just in front of everybody, just going off on him,
Oh,
Yeah, it's a small industry. It's like, okay, well, that guy's on his way out is what it seems like,
Yeah, no, the lady I know is in the Oviatt building. Is that the building you're in? The old building?
I'm in the Obiot building, yeah.
That's where she is. Yeah, she's in that building. That's amazing building. I don't know. I've never been to the top floor, but I'd like to.
Yeah, the penthouse. Just ask the security if you can see the penthouse. They'll let you up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Really
It was
cool.
built in the 20s, I think, right?
oh wow.
Yeah, 1920s. The if you go in the elevator, you will see the original engraving in that elevator is the crest of Los Angeles with the 2 angels, and it's pretty cool. It's really cool. If you come on Saturdays, you'll see people giving those LA walking tours, and they'll stop at the Obiot building. There are hundreds and hundreds of movies filmed in that restaurant.
Yeah, we go to there occasionally. There's a jazz group they have that we love. So I've been there about 4 times for the.
I've been there for 8 years and never ate at that restaurant.
Good, but you gotta like the group that's gonna be there.
Okay, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered all of the items on my agenda. So Brian, did you have anything that you wanted to ask or add?
No, not at all. I just want to thank Clay and Anthony for coming, and we appreciate your time, and yeah, stay safe, and hopefully you can get your shots.
And if I got my first one, I get my second one on the 21st.
I get my second one on March 10th. I got Moderna. Which one did you get?
Same, Moderna, yeah.
Moderna?
Well, somebody can have mine, but.
You know what? I read a lot of articles, and I had a lot of apprehension about it, but I just thought, we have property. My husband has property in Canada, and we're just not going to get in there if we don't do it, So we just, it's I hope I don't die from the shot, but
you'll be fine. It's
I read a
really
lot
good,
about it.
Yeah. So my dad's a doctor. All my cousins are doctors, and I was before this. I was in the medical industry before this as a pharmacy technician. So I understand the science behind it. It's fine. It's a nothing burger.
My mom.
I read the Mayo Clinic had a very good synopsis of the myths and dispelling the myths. So yeah, I think we're good. So thank you guys so much. I really got a whole page, believe it or not. I'm scribbling notes that I'm going to have to transpose for Brian. Got all these great notes here. So this is very, very helpful. It's really great input for my students, and it'll help me direct my instructors to kind of send them off in a little bit other direction. And hopefully, you know, when we get back to a normal school cycle, you know, we can start, I'd like to bring back those two electives, the retail class and also appraisal theory, because I think that's probably what helps you guys the best is value and, you know, basically, you know, working in a store environment. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful rest of your days, guys.
All right, everybody have a good weekend. Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.